Jam Buddies! I wanted to show you how I cut my wraps to match my fingernails perfectly. So these are the wraps that I'm going to be putting on today. And this pinky wrap fits my pinky just right, but my ring finger actually happens to be in between sizes. So this second wrap here is just a little bit too small for my ring finger, but this one is just a little bit too big. So what I like to do is I like to use this one and I like to trim it down using a piece of Scotch tape and my handy dandy tiny scissors. But that was getting really time consuming, so I made myself a pattern that I am super duper proud of. And it is really, really easy for me to use, and it's really, really fast. So I wanted to share with you how I do that. First of all, how I made the pattern was all you need is a piece of cardstock, so it'll be nice and stiff, and some tape and a pen. And what I did was I take a little tiny piece of tape and you stick it on your nail. You make sure it's nice and flat. You make sure you've already pushed your cuticles back so that your nail is the right shape that you want it to be. Make sure the tape is as flat as you can get it because wrinkles will make it will distort the size. So you push it down and then you trace around your nail. And then you label it. I'm going to label this my left thumb L1 is what I'm going to do. So I've got my left L1. I'm going to stick it down here on the table, and then I'm going to do L2, L2, and I'm going to stick it down right next to L1 so it's overlapping a little bit. You can kind of see that. Then I'm going to do L3, stick it right there. Make sure that they stay kind of straightish. It doesn't really matter super much though. Then L4. I'm going pretty fast. I'm not being as picky as I was when I first made mine because this is just for the video. But you can go as slow as you want to make them nice. And then L5. Uh-oh. Sounds like I got a little crier coming inside. They were playing outside, so I'm going to pause this and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. If I ever figure out how to put these two videos together, I'll be super impressed because I have basically no idea how to make a video. Okay, so back to where I was. I've got all my little nail traces here. Thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully unstick these from my table, keeping them together. So this is the front side. I'm going to put the front side down. Sticky side is up. This is the hardest part, getting it unstuck from your fingers here. Okay, so the sticky side is up. I'm going to take another piece of tape about this length, and I'm going to stick this here. Now I'm going to trace this and use this to create my template. But first I'm going to put one more piece of tape over it because I'm never going to get this unstuck. So here's my third piece of tape. Now what I'll do is I'll trace all of this very carefully and I'll label it. And I'm just going super fast here because I'm trying not to keep you guys watching a super long video. L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. And then I'll unstick that piece of tape that I just traced on. There you have it. Fabulous. So that is my trace. And so this is a backwards image of what my nails look like. This is what my nails actually look like. And this is backwards. And you'll see why I like to do it backwards in just a minute. So this is a backwards pattern of what my nails look like, all on one little sheet. I'm going to stick it onto my cardstock. And try not to smear because the pen will smear. If I weren't making a video, I'd just let it dry first. So there you have it. And then I would wrap this with packing tape, like you can see it's shiny, so that when you trace, it's going to be super easy. You'll see that in a minute. All right, so now that I have my template, how do I actually use it? What I do is I take my pattern and I take my tape and I take a strip of tape and I just stick it over my pattern. Now I already know, because I do this all the time, that I'm going to use this wrap for my pinky as is. I'm not going to trim it. And then I'm going to trim I'm going to trim my 3 middle nails and then use my thumb as is. So I'm only going to trace, and I'm going super fast here, but I'm only going to trace these 3 middle wraps because I don't actually need to trace these outer 2. And I do make sure to label them so that I know what I'm doing. Okay, so 2, 3, and 4, I'm going to unstick this, and I'm going to cut them out and stick them on the back side of the wraps that I'm going to use them for. So I've got L4 right here. There's my L4. I'm going to stick it on the back side of the wrap that is just slightly too big for my ring finger. Okay, then I'm going to snip apart L3. I'm going to stick it on the back side of the wrap that's just slightly too big for my 3rd finger. And then L2, the wrap that is slightly too big. Okay. All right. So I have my tape pattern labeled very carefully over my wraps. So I'm going to cut out now. I'm going to cut out the wraps that I plan to use. There we go. And then I just use this cute pinky one without even trimming it, so. All right, so I have my pinky wrap. I'm going to set that aside. And then I have my other 4 wraps. Now this one is for my thumbnail. So I'm going to cut that one out. And the way I do my thumbnail, because my thumbnail is super square, you can see it on my pattern, but it's about the right width, is to get rid of that curvy bottom, I'm actually going to clip it with a thumbnail. So a thumbnail clippers. So I clip it just like that. Tear off the excess, and then there you have it. And that is just about perfect for my thumbnail. Anyway, good enough. So I've got my pinky and I got my thumbnail all ready to go. I'll clip this other side here for my other thumbnail. So they're both ready to go. There, both sides clipped. Sorry. And then the 3 that I actually need to trim. So I have these little ones that I traced over. You can see they're labeled L3, I got L4, I got L2, and I got my thumbnail that I'm going to cut in half here. And I'm going to write straight on the back of this L1 so that I know this one's for my thumb. And of course my pen's not working. There we go. L1. So there's my thumbnail. And here's my pinky. I didn't do anything to this one, but I'm going to cut it right across at about the right height for my pinky nail. And then I would label that one too. So now I got, sitting here, L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. And I just set those aside in a little dish or something until I'm ready to do my nails. So yay, that's how I do it. Use the little pattern, put a piece of tape over, trace the tape, trace the wraps. You really didn't need a however long video this was to show you how to do that. But I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you have happy nails. So thanks, bye.